Thank you. I want to acknowledge that we're here on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. As we move forward, I'd also like to acknowledge that today is World Autism Day, a day where we acknowledge all of those people across the world who live on the autism spectrum. We know that COVID-19 is having a serious impact on all British Columbians. We know that people are concerned and they're scared. We know that people who are living in poverty and living vulnerable are even more scared and concerned as they move forward. As we do our work in this ministry and across government to support British Columbians, I'm very focused in my ministry on ensuring that we protect people's housing, ensuring that we have food security for families, that they have enough food, nutritious food to eat, that the health supports they require are there, and that we provide as much stability as possible in people's lives in this uncertain time. We've been doing that work across the government in a number of ways, whether it's been protection for renters from eviction, renters grants for those who have lost income, or moving forward in other areas around housing. The Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and BC Housing are working diligently on that. We've also provided support around food security, including $3 million for Food Banks BC to support and sustain our sustain our food banks moving forward in this uncertain time. We provided $50 million to the United Way for seniors-based community supports to ensure that those supports are in place for seniors who require them. We also have been putting in place supports for those who are struggling with homelessness and those who are street entrenched, and we know we have more to do on that. And today, we're making announcements that will add to those supports for people who are living vulnerable and people who are living poor. Today, I want to announce that as part of the $5 billion investment that our government's making in support of COVID-19 response, we'll be providing for two significant initiatives. First, an automatic $300 monthly COVID-19 crisis supplement for the next 3 months, so for the months of April, May, and June, for everyone receiving income and disability assistance moving forward. This will also include support for those who receive the senior supplement from the BC government or a comforts allowance for those in special care. This will support over 250,000 people in British Columbia over the next 3 months. I also want to announce a temporary exemption for all federal employment insurance benefits, including the new $2,000 Canada Emergency Response Benefit for people receiving provincial income and disability assistance. What this means is that for a number of British Columbians who are on income or disability assistance, they have an earning exemption. They can earn up to $15,000 a year in the case of an individual on disability benefits. For those who will qualify and be able to apply for EI because they've lost their employment, or to apply for the new emergency response benefit, they will be able to apply for that benefit, receive that benefit, and not have that deducted from their disability or income assistance check. There will be no clawback on this. These are important matters moving forward from my office. As I said, we expect that this will impact about 205,000 people who receive supports from my ministry directly. It also will support 58,000 seniors, low-income seniors. These are seniors who currently receive the senior supplement from British Columbia, which is $49, supporting those who receive old age security and the guaranteed income supplement. That will now be increased also to $300 for the following 3 months. It also will support about 4,000 people who receive support from our ministry who are in specialized care facilities receiving treatments for a range of care. These benefits mean that anyone on income or disability assistance who are eligible will get support. Also, we're announcing at this point that since BC Transit and TransLink have suspended fares, those on disability assistance who currently receive a bus pass or a Compass card as their transportation supplement, we will be putting the $52 that the cost of that onto their April checks so that they will be able to have that cash as well as they move forward, since currently they're not required to have those bus passes. We will continue going forward with this as long as fares are suspended, and I would assure people that they still will have access, obviously, to bus passes and other services. We know that this is a difficult time. We know that we need to provide supports for people, and these supports today, it's our hope, are another step in the process of being able to ensure that those people on income assistance or those people on disability assistance in our province will be supported moving forward with this crisis supplement and this exemption for federal initiatives. Again, these programs will be in place for the next 3 months, and as is always the case with the work around COVID-19, the government will be continuing to monitor and look at the programs as we move forward, and will adapt and adjust them accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We will now take questions, but before we do that, a couple of reminders to the media. Those who wish to ask questions, please press *1 to line up. We will be taking only one question per reporter, and please make sure that your handsets are unmuted. You will not be audible till you hear your name. We will now begin with Richard Zussman. Richard, go ahead.
Minister Simpson, will those receiving income and disability assistance be eligible for the up to $500 for the renters program that your government has created, and how quickly will those on assistance see this money on their checks?
Well, to take the second part of that question first, this money will be available on the April 22nd check, the next check that goes out on April 22nd. I would point out that we continue to have a number of other targeted crisis supplements for food, for shelter, clothing, other matters like that, that are available to people if they're finding it particularly challenging between now and April 22nd. But these funds, the $300, will be on the April check, and there's no requirement for any application. That money will be there moving forward. The $500 renters grant was for people who lost income moving forward, so that will not be there for those folks who qualify the $2,000 and will get the $2,000 or will qualify the earning exemption, as they will also continue to receive their assistance checks moving forward.
Thank you. The next question is from Tanya Fletcher, CBC. Go ahead, please.
Oh, yes. Hi, Minister. I'm just wondering, a lot of people who aren't maybe able to have online access given the closure of libraries, et cetera, how can they, get more information, or what supports are available for them who rely on those public places to get online?
We are looking at ways to support that. That obviously is very important. We are encouraging folks to not come into our offices if they can help it, but to contact us by phone or online. They can call, absolutely, to get further information. We'll also be disseminating information through a number of the agencies that work with folks who are living on income assistance and disability assistance, and we're hoping and relying on you as the media to help us to get the word out to people too as we move forward, to ensure that everybody understands what the program is and understands the supports that they can expect and anticipate in the coming weeks and months.
Thank you. The next question comes from David Molko, CTV. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Minister. I want to ask you about home share providers. I've been talking to several. There's a woman named Karen Anderson. She's in Coquitlam. She cares for a woman who has early onset dementia and Down syndrome for 30 years. She says she considers her client to be like her daughter. She says in this crisis, quote, I'm feeling abandoned, like the dirt on the bottom of someone's shoe. She is worried if she becomes ill, they're going to fall through the cracks. What can you tell her?
Well, I guess the first thing I want to say to Karen and to others who are supporting those with developmental disabilities, a huge thank you. We're working very closely with Community Living BC and the Provincial Health Office to be able to deliver these services. There are standards that have been set by Dr. Bonnie Henry's office around what we should expect, and we're working closely to make sure that we deliver those services. I want to ensure all of the home share providers that supports are available from CLBC. We're meeting on a weekly basis with the sector, both with advocates and family members, and also with the service providing agencies as well. So I would, I guess all I can do at this point is provide as much confidence as possible that we understand the important work that's being done by home share providers. We understand the supports that they need, and we will do everything possible to make sure that Karen and all the people who deliver those important services receive the supports they need to be able to support people that are living with them.
The next question is from Lisa Cordasco, CHLY. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Minister. There are thousands of British Columbians who receive the federal disability payments. What happens to them in all of this?
I'm not sure that I totally understood the question. If you could just ask it one more time, please.
Yes, well, thousands of British Columbians receive the federal disability payments. They are not on the provincial plan, so they do not qualify for any provincial programs under your plan. Many of those people were forced onto the federal system by your system, which says if you qualify, you must be on that system and not on the provincial one. So what do you say to the thousands of British Columbians who receive federal disability payments, who are probably hurting just as much, but they don't qualify for this new supplement you've announced today?
Well, as I've said, a large part of the work, and Minister James, in developing the $5 billion initiative to support British Columbians, it really is about looking at what the federal government is doing, how federal programs are being developed, and then working to make our programs, provincial programs, as complementary as possible, with the objective of meeting people's needs and providing some comfort and assurance that people's core needs will be met. And that's what we're doing here with these initiatives. As I said, about 250,000 people will receive those supports moving forward through these programs, and we continue to work with our federal counterparts to look at where there are gaps and where people may be struggling for supports. And those folks who are receiving federal supports, there's always ongoing discussions, I know, between my officials and officials in the provincial government and the federal government to try to close those gaps around ensuring that everybody who has needs are seeing their core needs being met.
Thank you. The next question is from Lisa Yudza, News 1130.
Just quickly, can you say again the dollar value and the number of people who will be benefiting from the program being announced today?
Absolutely. There are two significant initiatives today. The first is a $300 crisis supplement that will be added to people's monthly assistance payments. That will go to all people receiving income and disability assistance who do not receive the federal emergency funds. That will impact about a 250,000 people. It will include about 205,000 people who are directly supported by my ministry, about 58,000 senior citizens who receive the OAS and GIS supplement and the provincial supplement today, and about 4,000 people who live in special care facilities. In addition to that, those people who have earnings, mostly people on disability benefits and single moms, the vast majority, if they qualify for the federal initiatives through EI or the emergency program, they will be eligible to collect that money up to the $2,000 a month put forward by the federal government, and they will not lose their provincial benefit income assistance or disability assistance check. Those checks, as they are today, will remain whole.
Thank you. And another reminder to the media, if you wish to ask questions, please press star 1 to line up for the questions. Next question is from Andrew McLeod, the Tyee.
Yeah, hi, Minister. You mentioned 15,000 as the amount for earnings exemptions. I'm wondering if that's an increase or if that's just been the figure up to now. Are you actually increasing earnings exemptions? And I'm also wondering about the eligibility requirements. In particular, people have been calling for the asset test and the requirement to look for work to be relaxed. Are you doing anything around that or considering it?
Yes, the earning exemption had been up until, I guess we passed the legislation in the last sitting, had been $12,000 a year. We increased that earning exemption at that time to $15,000 a year in recognition mostly that the increases in minimum wage were having an impact on people's earning and reducing the number of hours. So we increased it both for persons on disability benefits and others. So that is an increase over what had been $12,000 a year there. We have waived around other requirements. We have waived the work search for this period of time. We've suspended it, so we are not asking people who are coming to income assistance or who are applying to participate in a work search at this point. And we'll review that all again, of course, when we get past the crisis we're in.
Thank you. The next question is from Rob Shaw, Vancouver Sen. Please go ahead. Rob, are you there? Moving on, we'll take the last question from Dirk Meissner, CP. Dirk, go ahead, please.
Hi, Minister. Can you tell me $300 a month, how large will someone, or how much will the payment be now that somebody receives?
Well, maybe to give you a couple of examples of what people are earning today. For example, a single person on disability benefits today receives $1,183.42. So they will get an additional $300 on top of that. A single mom with 2 kids would receive $1,609.08. They would receive the additional $300 on top of that.
Thank you, and that will be all. Thank you for participating.